Shalom, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem HaKadosh. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS, or the true leaders of Israel today. And salutations to all of the Akim who do this work in truth and sincerity, who risking their lives and their freedoms to do so, as well as the scattered Israelites who come looking like the heathen but are not, by way of their forefathers' seeds who are Israelite men. The true name of the Most High is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahushai, and the Lord's holy chosen people are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as we're the ones who suffer under the curses in the book of Deuteronomy. My name is Akalia, and this video is about the heathen. And the heathen are nothing. And also, salvation and the blessing. Alright, as they have some individuals out there that are attempting to share our blessing, referring to the Israelites, our blessing with the heathen, and that's completely off. All right, and this topic can be taken from different angles, depending on however it is that Yahweh Shemishai has inspired the particular spirit. All right, so I'm taking it from this angle, starting with the heathen are nothing. And the heathen are nothing yesterday, today, tomorrow, and forevermore. They are nothing in the sight of Yahweh Shemishai. The Lord created them to essentially be side characters in this movie that the Lord has going right now. And, they have had their role to play throughout the history and whatever else, but the main characters have always been the Israelites. Always. Because we're the Lord's holy chosen people, and mostly because the Lord just simply determined it as such. All right, so the heathen are nothing, man. So let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So all nations come from Adam. There's a list of 18 nations. Of the 18 nations, you have the Lord's holy chosen people, who are the Israelites. Then you have the 17 other nations, who are the heathen. Of those 17 heathen nations, you have the Edomites, who are these so-called white people, who are the wicked. All right. So they are determined as sons of the wicked. The rest of the heathen, right, of that 17 heathen, the rest of them, they are the sons of men. All right. So even among the heathen, there is a worst of the heathen, and the worst of the heathen are the so-called white people, who are the Edomites. All right. But they're all heathen. So it says, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said they are nothing but be like unto spittle. So the Lord created the world for our sakes. The Lord created the world for the Israelites, and the Israelites only. That is a part of the blessing. Remember what the Apostle Paul said in the book of Romans chapter 9. He said, to whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the giving of the law, the service of Yahweh Shemishai, and the promises, all of it is packaged together as the blessing for the Israelites. And he says, Israelites, very plainly. Okay? So, we are separate from the heathen, and to be separate means to be holy. So when you look at holy in the scriptures, you can find it several places. And it says holy, which is Quadash, which says apartness, holiness, sacredness, separateness, right? We're separate, right? Holy means separate, and we are separate from the heathen because we have been given the promises, the law, the adoption, the glory, the covenants, everything. They were not given that. So they are, not like us. We're different from them. All right. Because of this blessing given unto us from Yahweh Shemishai. So it says, And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. As for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and hast likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So the Lord refers to the heathen as nothing, and likens them unto spit. And now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which have ever been reputed as nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. And the scriptures say that the Lord does not change. So the Lord has always seen the heathen as nothing and continues to see the heathen as nothing. The Lord didn't randomly give the heathen the blessing that was given unto our forefathers, from Abraham onto Isaac onto Jacob, whose name was then changed to Israel, who's the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. And so the wording as well, firstborn, thy only begotten, only means one, and thy fervent lover are given into their hands. And if the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? Because we're suffering under the curses, but this will pass. Okay, so in Isaiah chapter 40 and 15, it says, behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. So the small dust of the balance. The balance is the way how things are, right? The order of things, how Yahweh Shemishai have set things up. And in that grand scheme of things, all right, the scriptures say the nations are as a drop of a bucket and are counted as a small dust of the balance. They are counted as a small dust of the balance, a small dust, a spectacle. Y'all know you can even visualize a speckle of dust. It's nothing. All right. So the Lord don't care about these heathen men. All right. And the Lord has always only cared about the children of Israel. All right. As it says in Amos chapter 3 and verse 1, hear this word that the Lord Yahweh hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth, therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. So the Lord only knows and cares for the Israelites. He's only concerned about our people. All right. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, it says, I'll start at verse 7. Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will shew thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is a lot of his inheritance, right? In the book of Genesis, that was made clear when Jacob was given the ultimate blessing of complete rulership and dominion over the rest of the nations, right? We were given the ultimate blessing. And Esau was also given his blessing, the fatness of the earth, the dew of heaven, and by the sword would he rule, which this is what we're suffering under right now. Okay, and then even as well, the scripture lets us know in the book of Genesis chapter 17 that Ishmael, right? Ishmael was given a blessing that he would be made fruitful and multiply exceedingly, and that he would be a great nation. But that is not the ultimate blessing. We were given the ultimate blessing, but as it says, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, right? The nations got whatever the Lord decided to provide to them, but regarding the ultimate blessing and the covenants and the giving of the law and everything, that was given specifically to the Israelites, to us. All right. For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is a lot of his inheritance, right? So it's all about the Israelites, man. Okay. And then there's another thing, right? In the kingdom, the heathen are going to be learning from us. Okay. But a part of the blessing is that we would have the law, statutes, and commandments written within us. So that goes to show you that they're not a part of the blessing. All right, in Hebrews chapter 8, and this was on my mind, chapter 8, it says, I'll start at verse 6, but now hath he obtained a more excellent ministry, by how much also he is the mediator of a better covenant, which was established upon better promises. And Yahushua is that mediator between the nation of Israel and Yahweh. For if that first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So the new covenant was made with the Israelites, not with the heathen. All right. The first covenant was made with the Israelites, right? And we didn't do so well. All right. We broke it. And so now we're suffering under the curses. The heathen aren't suffering under the curses because they were not given the blessing, the law, statutes, and commandments, the promises, etc. It says, not according to the covenant that I made with them, with their fathers, in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they will be to me a people. And they still mention anything about the heathen, man. So when it is that you have people that are talking about that salvation is for everyone, that the heathen can receive salvation, what you're saying is that the heathen can receive salvation, which means that the heathen have received are a part of the covenant, that the heathen have the laws, they have the promises, they have the adoption, they have everything. Okay, but they do not. Because this, where the law, statutes, and commandments are going to be written within us, it is only for the children of Israel. The heathen are not a part of the blessing. They don't have this. This is a part of the blessing. So if they're not a part of this blessing, they're not a part of any blessing at all regarding, because it's, as I said before, it's a package deal. It's all one thing onto the nation of Israel. All right, so the heathen won't have this. Okay, so they're not a part of the blessing. When we go to Isaiah 2, it will say, in verse 2, and it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Talking about the heathen nations. So this is when we're in rulership, man. Because when Yahushua returns, Yahushua is going to set up the kingdom of heaven. And it's going to be here on earth. And the Israelites are going to be in rulership. And we're going to establish our rulership, our dominion, the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shemishai. All right. So what will happen is that the nations are going to see, well, they're going to have a fear upon them, of course. But they're also going to see how beneficial it is to live by way of the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Shemishai. Because it is the correct way to live. Okay, so then, and many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. So the heathen are going to want to learn our ways, right? So they don't have the law, statutes, and commandments within them. They're not a part of the covenant. They're not a part of the blessing. They're not a part of the promises. because they have to come and learn the ways. It's not going to be written within them, right? It says Hebrews 8 because here in Hebrews 8 and verse 10, for this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a power, and they shall be to me a people, and they shall not teach every man his neighbor, right? And who is the Israelite neighbor? The Israelite, right? So this is talking to Israelites. And every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me, from the least to the greatest, right? So we're just going to be naturally so, all right? So when it is that Israelites are born in the kingdom, they're just going to be naturally righteous, because we won't be under the chains of darkness anymore, which are this flesh. You see? So the heathen were not given this. Okay, so we don't have to teach other Israelites how to follow the law, statutes, and commandments, because it's going to be written within us. But the heathen, as it pertains to Isaiah chapter 2, they're going to come to us seeking to learn our ways. You see? So they're not a part of the blessing, right? And then it says in Isaiah 2 and verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord Yahweh from Jerusalem. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. All right, so this I just read as a little bonus to clarify that the people who are claiming that they are the Lord's holy chosen people are not the Lord's holy chosen people that are in the land of Israel today, because the scriptures say that when it is that the Lord's holy chosen people, the Israelites, are in rulership, that there will be no more war. But World War III is on the brink of happening right now. So that proves that the people who claim that they're the Lord's holy chosen people in the land of Israel today are not those people. And World War III is a part of Bible prophecy regarding the end of the rulership of the Edomites, the so-called white man. All right, that's what's really going on. Okay, so yeah, man. Point proven, the heathen are nothing, and they will always be nothing in the sight of Yahweh Shemishai, and they are not a part of the adoption, the glory, the promises, the giving of the law, the service of Yahweh Shemishai, the covenants, nothing. Okay, no matter how people want to try and twist and turn the scriptures, but this is par for the course, man. These things will happen. Anyway, with that, all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Shemishai by Shemakal Kodesh. Shalom.